All right, y'all, we are live. Hey, everybody. So I am, I am Jamaica Anderson. Go ahead.
Oh,
I
I'm
am
Maisha.
Carmel.
Oh, I'm Maisha.
And I'm
But
Carmel.
look, we here today, y'all. We missing two, but we love y'all. Jamesia and Shelly. Always got to give a shout out to my girls. So just to let you guys know, as always, like we are Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Listen, ladies. We are the black coffee. Our lips drip with honey, and sometimes we have a little bit of grit, sass, class, and all that ass. So we're just here having everyday conversations because we're everyday women, and it's something that I'm sure you've been thinking about. Today's topic is spending the night. Look, we should have put the spend the night bag. Look,
The overnight bag
yes,
Spend the
listen.
night.
It
to
has
do or
so
not
many
to do.
names. I remember I was thinking about this earlier today. My cousin, when I was younger, she was like, where's your slut bag? I was like, slut bag? What are you saying to me? She's like, every girl needs a bag. They need to have at least one outfit and something to wash you up. And you don't never want to wear the same clothes. I'm like, girl, what is it? I'm not a slut. I don't understand. And she was like, you just need an overnight bag to put in your car. So you need to go fix you up one and put it in the trunk. And that's the spend the night bag. It's gonna always be in the trunk, always ready. You ain't got to worry about it. Whether you got a man or not, trying to go get you some, maybe you got a girlfriend. I don't know what's your flavor, but what she said is you should always be ready to hit the road and go. Mm.
You know,
So Jamaica, did you take that advice? Did you
I
prepare
take
yourself
heed.
some
I
kind
took
of
heed. I listen. I was just thinking today. I was like, I do not have nothing in my car at this present moment, and I need to get it together. But I used to have. See, I'm a little classier. We're not gonna call it the whole bag or the slut bag and all this other stuff. I'm a classy lady, but I used to have an overnight bag, right? And in my overnight bag, I had usually I tend to do dresses because you can always dress it up or dress it down. So I would have something that, I would have like three dresses. So that way I had something for work, something, a little more razzle dazzle, and then just something if I didn't want to dress up too much because I'm just that girl. Sometimes I just want to go. I don't want to be dressy. I don't want to be work related. And usually I always keep shoes in my car, so I never really had to worry about that. But yeah, and then all the little freshen up. I always got perfume in the car, some type of spray, body spray. Um, the wet wipes. I realized the wet wipes dry out too fast, so I was like, that's something you just got to keep in your purse. Keep your little fresher upper in your purse. Keep it going. But yeah, like a little powder or something. Something for the girls, a little razzle dazzle, whatever you got to do. But I left stuff in my car for so long I forgot that it was there because it was in the trunk. You know what I'm saying? And one day I went and I took some stuff. I was like, this what happened to that dress. I've been looking for this dress. But yeah, it's something that just stay there. What about you?
I was trying to think if I had extra clothes in the bag. Sometimes things were impromptu, so I didn't have a plan in place
But that's why it's
for
always said.
for the bag. I think on that. But yeah, it's my one of my friends. Shout out to friend. I won't call out her name, but shout out to friend who first introduced me to this concept. She was way more worldly than I was. 'Cause when I met her, I had a boyfriend, so when I just I didn't need to have a bag. He mostly just lived with me. So yeah, but she was like, yeah, you gotta have your little wet wipes in there, a little toothbrush, your travel kit. I was like, oh wow. And then later on, I was like, oh, this comes in handy. This really does. So if I thought something might happen, I think I like to carry just one bag. So I just have stuff in whatever bag I had. So it didn't look like I had separate bags. Because I'm traveling the streets and the subways in New York City. It's looking real, like I'm carrying luggage. So that's why I was like trying to figure out, did I have like a little tight, little tiny outfit in there or something? But yeah, I had a little bag that was I had a little, it was like in a makeup case.
Yeah.
And I had my stuff in the makeup case in my bag, ready to go.
Just a little
So
refresher, at least get you the little travel size, perfume sprays and, a little hand towel at least, pat dry. I don't know.
have my little soaps in there, little bit of everything. My prophylactics.
Carmela's
I
just like,
never had anything like
this.
that. First of all, nobody ever told me about this overnight spend the night bag, whatever. And no, I wasn't carrying anything. Like if I ended up at a dude's place, I ended up at his place, and come a certain time of morning, ciao. Like there was no nothing like that.
But even if for me personally, a lot of time, well, like I said, when I was younger, it was my cousin kind of introduced it as, when you get you some friends, you know what I'm saying? So I think
Uh-huh.
I had a lot of practice. It was just there. Look, it was just there to
Right.
be there. Um,
Uh-huh. Just
but
like the emergency kit.
right. And that's what I kind of relay it to now is that you just never know. Like, and my aunt, they were like some of my aunts were just kind of like for women, you never know when you need to refresh up. Just down there in general. It's hot outside. You're in Florida now. You feel this Florida heat. You've been sweating, all this other stuff. And if you want to go from work to, go out to dinner or, whatever else, you don't have to go all the way home, especially because a lot of places in Central Florida, a lot of the places that we have to go to is like an hour away or 45 minutes away. You get what I'm saying? Into the city.
Yeah.
So if you're coming from the country to the city, you don't want to go 30 minutes home from work, then to go all the way there. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a no at that point when you want to go meet up with friends or do something. So just to have something to already be ready. And then I like to travel. Not I haven't done as much since COVID, but pre-COVID, I've always been a girl that like to travel, and my friends stay in different locations. So I would have a friend who would be like, "Oh, Jamaica, do you want to come to Jacksonville for a while? Come over. We're thinking about doing X, Y, and Z." I'm I'm already outside. Like I'm already in Orlando or wherever I am. I'm like, sure, I'll be there. Like I'm on my way. And I didn't have to go home, an hour back home just to come back to Orlando to go to Jacksonville. You get what I'm saying? So I was kind of like, I'm ready for anything.
Yeah, but I could be ready by going to the ladies' room and just getting a paper towel, some water, just wiping up, and I'm like,
Carmel's like,
for
I'm
me, what
simple.
it's so simple, so simple. And if I need to listen, if I'm hanging out with the girls, I'd be like, look, I might need a t-shirt to go home in, or whatever. But I had no problem with if I'm spending the night, I'm putting on the clothes. Yeah, it just is, and I just
It just
I'm the
is.
type of
It kind of reminded me of a scene
look.
in Desperately Seeking Susan when Madonna's in the ladies' room. Oh gosh, how long ago did this movie come out? Anyway, like she's got the dryer going and she's
yeah.
just like, just freshening up there. I was like, yeah, but yeah, it's all, everything you need is right there.
In the ladies' room, I'm good. Just saying.
Meeting in the ladies'
That
room.
song came into my head just now.
Oh yes,
Listen, I
I'll
guess
be back
it's
real soon. I can't sing, but
right. It's a different flavor for everybody. Like I could say I've probably done that once or twice, maybe. Where you're just out and about and you just have to do what you got to do. But I used to be the girl who was always ready for everything anyway. So like my bag, honey, everybody used to tell me I should have been a mother a long time ago. They come to me and they was like, "You got?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, girl, let me just." I used to have the big purses,
I know
the big
somebody like that.
purses, honey, that's like almost like a suitcase by itself and be like, "Hold on, honey. Here go a sewing kit. Here go you know what I'm saying? Here go a drink. Here go a snack." I had everything. Look, everything you needed.
If
All
it's
you
more
had to
than
do is
this,
come
it's
talk
too
to me.
much. That's it. Like I
Girl,
don't
now
even
I
like
don't even
this.
have that. If it don't fit in my titties, it ain't going. I ain't gonna lie to you. If it
Oh, there
ain't,
you go.
I just put
I'm
a
telling
credit
you, I got
card
a
in the
friend like
bra,
that.
lip gloss. If it don't fit, it ain't going. I
Yeah,
don't
I
even
like
feel
it to
like
fit
I'm
in my
supposed to be paying for
pockets.
nothing. Look, I don't even feel like I'm supposed to pay for nothing for real anyway. Once I get cute, I'm not supposed to pay for nothing anyway. Like I just got cute. So somebody need to
I
pay
love
for it.
that because I never said that, but I feel the same damn way. Like I'm too cute. Like no, I'm not. All I need is my identification. Like
That's it.
you know.
Usually I have a
And the
card just in
emergency credit
case.
card. Yeah, the
Right.
emergency
Oh
credit
yeah.
card.
Just in case. But I just got cute. Like I don't understand. If you understood how much it's not necessarily how much it took for me to get like this, but I took time to like put a little extra pep and a little razzle on that dazzle. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just one of them girls. Like, I'm not that girl, and I feel like I don't touch nothing. I don't do nothing. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I'll pull up sometimes and go through a fast food driveway, and I really be sitting there. The people be like, "Okay, the total is da da da," and I'll be waiting, and then I'll be like, "Oh, my bad. I forgot I gotta pay, don't I?" You're right.
That had never crossed my mind. That had never crossed
Never.
never crossed my mind at all. I mean, even it's hard pressed for me on a date. I have to really, like a first date. I have to really think about what I'm paying for because I'll be Dutch real quick
No, I'm gonna ask before we
By
go.
your own choice, or because he might?
by my own
What do you
choice.
mean?
She crazy.
Like
Okay.
Jamaica's like, I don't understand the language you're speaking right now. I will have to
I
Girl,
don't either,
I'll
because
have to learn from y'all. I really do. First of all, I don't go out on. I really don't go out on a lot of dates, right? And so recently, like with the last two guys I was seeing, like it was a practice for me. The last guy especially, it was like a practice for me to let him take
okay.
care of things. Like
Hmm.
I didn't pull out my wallet, and I would just be like, I'm ready, but he's like, I got
See,
this.
me, when I go on a date, especially if dude asks me out or dude make that suggestion, the bill is not my business. It's not. The bill comes out, and I'm just look like I don't even. I used to, like in my 20s. I used to go in my wallet, and he would be like, I don't even pretend now. I'm just like you're gonna handle that because that's not my business. It's not. So
I think it's levels to it for me. Like it's levels to it. It's depending on who I'm going with, who asks. Like, cause 9 times out of 10, like if I ask, like, "Hey, y'all want to do this or whatever else," um, most of the time, sometimes not most of the time, sometimes I got it. Like if it's really like, oh, da da da, like I got it. I'm not gonna be stressing you. But I don't know if I'm cute. I'm just telling y'all, like this right here, regular degular me. I ain't even got my nails done. Like I'm just like, okay. I'll be like, is this on you? Like I'm gonna ask, like, is this on you? But if I got my nails done and my hair done and I done got cute, like I look like I'm stepping out, I'm not asking you nothing. I'm just gonna sit there.
it could be
I don't
lunch.
know.
For
I don't
me,
understand.
I could have on my sneakers, just come from a run, smelly as f af. But if I'm with the dude, I'm like, no, I'm not. That's not my business. No, handle your business.
I'm learning from y'all right now, like in real time, like I'm learning because I see Carmela's like I'm always cute. It doesn't matter what's going on. And then Jamaica's like, if I give you this presentation here and I put the effort in, you gonna put the effort in. And I'm really just like I'm a newbie to this. It's like I'm still in my 20s when it comes to the dating thing. For real, or anything like that. Like I'm schooled today.
Back in the day, I
All
used to be
right.
like, I got the tip. Look, I got the tip. I put the tip
Oh, I
down or
used to.
something.
I used to do that.
But
Yeah,
the
I used to
older I
get the
get, I'm
tip.
just like, and I think it's the caliber of man too, because some men just won't like they won't even allow you to do anything. So like I think
He would
I'm getting
never
used
enter
to
my
that.
circle. That dude would never enter my like.
I love it.
Caliber. Like,
I
But
if
that's
I
what I'm
can,
saying.
if I can snip that from you, we're not even going to a Starbucks. No, like no.
love this. Wow, I'm fascinated. Okay, so this I'm trying to formulate my thought as y'all are talking, because I'm thinking about, I don't know. I have to figure out how to say this, and I don't know. I really do. It's not even trying to say it right. I really don't know how to say it. So I was thinking about Jamaica when she was talking about like having her nails done and when she looked cute, and the thought kind of dawned on me that it's like, oh, like when you walk out into the world dressed or presenting in a certain way, there is a certain caliber of man that you attract. And I know this sounds crazy coming from me. It's easy for me to see it like kind of with other people. Like if I were talking to someone and like coaching, it's easy for me to see, but it's like, you know, if you're a doctor, you're the worst patient. When it comes to me, it's I'm completely blind with it, right? So I'm like, okay. So if I walk outside, you know, I'm thinking about how like Dr. Jamisi is always dressed,
Yeah.
right? And there's a certain type of dude that always comes to her because she's always
Yeah.
like dressed, right? And I'm like, oh, Maisha, maybe it's because I always look like I'm a high schooler. Because I do. Like I literally am just like in jeans and some t-shirt, just like, you know, on a baseball cap, looking like a high schooler. And I'm like, oh. So
But I
I'm
don't even think that it's the way that you dress either.
I was gonna
I
say
think it's
that
just the expectation and the energy that you're in. You
energy,
understand
one hundred
energy,
percent.
right?
for
But
sure,
it's
for
the
sure.
it's the energy that you're always in. Like I'm not always in that energy where it's and let me do it in two parts, right? So I'm not always in that energy where I feel as though I should always be taken care of, right? Even though that is a concept that is consistent in my life, right? But sometimes I have that energy where I'm just going to get things done and the easiest way to get it done is the way that it's going to happen. So those are two separate energies. They can work together, but it's two separate ones. Like, and that's where some women, and I.e. myself, I'm not going to beg you or ask you to do anything. If you can't
Right.
just do it for the sake of doing it, then I'll do it just to get it done. You get what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
I don't like teetering in the two energies all the time. So I know what it is for me. I know what I have to do in order to remain in that energy of being taken care of. So me always being in that energy of being taken care of is also has to do with me taking care of myself.
Right. Right.
And so if I have set myself up to the hair's done, the nails done, I look at my toes done, I put on this nice dress, put on these shoes, then that energy just automatically flows and exudes. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm. You
But
know,
then go ahead.
as I say, what's interesting is as much as I've known that to be true, there's something about when you just said it just now that clicked. As many times as I've heard it or said it or whatever, there's something about the way you said it. If I take care of myself, that's the energy. That something about that just clicked for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I feel like even if I were to meet somebody casually and just the conversation would strike. Based on my conversation and even how I speak, how I present myself, the things that we are even talking about should give him an indication of the type of person that I am. And I'm not the type of person that will pay for my coffee. I'm not the type of person that will pay for my dinner. Like, if I'm with you, that's what you're doing. And I might get a lot of heat for saying that, but listen, I that's just, no matter what energy I'm in, no matter what energy I'm feeling right now, I feel like, that's just it. Can I pay for my own meal? 100%. Yeah. But that's not what I'm here to do.
Right.
Hmm.
And even with what you were saying, like I was having this conversation with a client the other day and it was so funny. Um where we were talking about sometimes you have people who see that in you, right? They see that and they want to be in that space with you, but they know that they are not where they need to be in order to maintain that. So they try to tap into that with you and be in that space. And then when they fail, right? When they fail to be able to uh stay there with you in that energy of taking care of you or of making sure that they are where and who they need to be, they want to push blame on you. So it's like, oh, so you don't see I'm trying? So you don't like that I did that the other day? I just can't do it all the time. And it's like no one asked you, to step into this space. You came after me. I eventually allowed you, to show who you are, and now I'm telling you that that doesn't work for me. And now you're fighting me to maintain a space that you know that you can't, that you're compromising. You get what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
so,
So go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I have this real quick story. There was this guy at the space where I work, and he had a crush on me. It was no secret, he had a crush on me. Valentine's Day would come and he would buy me flowers. It was so sweet. And he would also like, or he would buy me flowers, he'd buy me a card, but he never asked me out. And one day he says to me, I'm trying to save up some money so I could buy some Broadway tickets to a Broadway show. This guy was from the street. He was so ghetto, I don't even know how to talk to him. But it was so sweet that he was making that attempt. And it was so refreshing to hear, like, he understood this is the
Yeah.
type of girl that she is. But in to what you're saying, Jamaica, that type of relationship would never be sustainable because of that conversation will come up. You don't see I'm changing, you don't see that I'm doing XYZ to make you happy. Meanwhile, I never asked him to do that. That was his decision to try to get Broadway tickets, to impress me on a first date, right? But that would not be a sustainable relationship. That would probably be like a one date and I'd be like, well, thank you for showing me a nice time. And where would it go? Like, he was so street. I'm like, I don't know how to talk to you. Of course he's a human being. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to say that we really didn't match. He never ended up asking me out, but he always was so pleasant to me. So that's it.
And it's too, and I love that you brought that up, because even when you have that, like, I have been in situations where it's like I like street dudes too. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I'm a little toxic too. But but we all have those balances, right? And sometimes you allow people into a space that they're not ready for, right? That you want to allow them the opportunity to grow into that space, because that's what they showed you when they approach you, is that I'm willing
Hmm.
to grow into this thing. But
Hmm.
because and you're for me, I'm like, I see you where you are. There's no need for you to grow into that. Just be my friend, right? Or just be
Right.
here where you are. And then it's like, no, I'm fighting for this space. So then when you allow that person, you don't what I did was I didn't allow that person to truly fight when they were asking for that. I said, "Okay, I see what you're trying to do. I'm going to give you an opportunity." But given that opportunity, what happened was they missed the mark. And they consistently missed the mark, and then they tried to bring me down with them. And then that's where the issue arises, right? Is that I don't mind you missing the mark or you doing whatever it is that you're doing, but what I can't do is I can't come down with you. And that
Hmm.
reminds me of a conversation. I was trying to do this video the other day on YouTube on my podcast. But the volume didn't work out, needless to say, so I can do it here. But I was talking to this gentleman, and I think within our first conversation, I told him, I was like, hey, you and I would not be a great couple at all. I was like, I wouldn't mind getting to know you as a friend and allowing you that space, but dating, no. And this is the reason why. Like, I'll tell you why. This is the reason why. And so he was like, okay, well, since we're just going to be friends, he started to like divulge all this stuff about the way that many men think. And we'll talk about that on another episode. But within all of that, right? Um I just kind of realized too that one of the things that go with this that he said was most men want a woman to come up under their umbrella. That was his statement. Men want a woman who can come up under their umbrella. And I said, well, but if you are someone who, let's say you're making, because for him a lot of stuff dealt with age and money, right? And the ability to have a child. That's what makes a woman for him. But I was just like, okay, so if you're making $50,000 or $40,000, this woman's making eighty to $90,000. You're renting. She purchased her home. You have one car. She has two. I was like, why can't you guys work together? If you have a vision as a man, why can't you tell her, this is my vision? This is what I want to accomplish. This is where I see we can help each other out, and then you guys go together in partnership and work towards that. He was like, no, that isn't how it works. She has to come up under my vision and da da da. I was like, but what you're trying to say is you want a woman to dismiss what she has to bring to the table and dismiss what she wants to do, but use her resources to support what you have going on. And I was like, that doesn't make sense to me when you by yourself wasn't able to accomplish at least where she's at. You get what I'm saying? Like, how can I come up under your umbrella when my umbrella is bigger? It doesn't make sense. I'm gonna come up under a one person umbrella when I got a beach umbrella. Like, now we're both gonna be drowning. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. I'm like, that's we're both getting wet. It doesn't make sense. But he was arguing that down with me, and he was like, "That's why women, are always lonely and all this other stuff." And I was like, "I think that's just your perspective of the women that are in your world because you only can see what you see." I said, "Never, not once did I ever say the woman can't support your vision or can't come up under your umbrella, but you have to get a bigger umbrella in order to, you know what I'm saying, house everything that is presented."
Right. So she's providing the umbrella, but he's directing where it goes is a little
It could
skewed.
be. Look, it could be, but it just didn't make sense to me. And he was arguing me down, honey, and I was just like, I'm about to have a headache listening to you, but I'm not gonna argue with you no more because I don't argue with fools. But that's
So
rude too.
he's somebody that wouldn't get the spin a night bag is what it is. That's all it is. He's somebody
That's it.
that
Listen.
he wouldn't get that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And I hear these conversations, and we end up going all over the place. But I hear these conversations, and I fluctuate back and forth with them because I hadn't really found my center yet, which is again one of the reasons why I'm taking this break, because I grew up very much. I don't know that it's necessarily in a time, but I grew up in an environment where it was like, man leads, woman follows. And then as I got older and started doing my own studies on, you know, energetics and the way relationships have flowed and where that came from and how it came about, my understanding of relationships became very different, which was that the feminine, like the woman is the call and the man is the response to that, which isn't necessarily the same as, like this, I club you over the head, I drag you in, and now you do kind of what I say type of mentality that was existing before. So I've been, I fluctuate back and forth between a lot of that because one society perpetuates one, but I just don't feel it to be true. But then it's like, okay, how do I embrace what I know to be true? And it has been very conflicting because I did grow up with that idea, like, that even if she follows his vision, and like that's it.
But the idea and the action is still different too, because even within what you're saying, you're talking about the ideology of a patriarchy, but we live in matriarchy as colored people. Because even what you're saying, like, oh well, the man was the lead, right? My father did X, Y, and Z, but who really ran your house? Like, who, you
My
know,
father.
no, but not always just you, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, who
Oh,
really ran
okay.
the house, or who did most of the work, who brought in the income, who did this? Like when you start
Right.
divvying out certain things, it was still a duality within that construct.
Absolutely.
Because, like,
Yeah.
for
Partnership.
you, what you've shared with us before, you're like, well, my father ran the house and did all these things, but my mom is the one who worked. She did a lot of work even when my father didn't have a job. So it's like, well, where does that come? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is
Right.
that at?
Right.
For me, my mother ran her house. My stepdad was there, but what my mom said goes. Even though he did what he wanted to do, but it still was, when she was around, it was like Debo and Friday. When Debo come around, I be quiet, but when he gone, I be talking again. Like, that was how my house was ran. Like, my mother was that. And then even with my grandmother on my father's side, my grandmother held down multiple households. Not only was it hers, but hers and her children's. You get what I'm saying? And all of them, only one I think was really married, but from the four, they still they still had to come to her because she was the matriarchy. You get what I'm saying? Like, she was that
Hmm.
power. If something went wrong, mama got it. A mama's gonna take care of it, or mama's gonna help. So it's like, yes, you have this idea that men are the ones that run things, but it's like that's not always the case. Like there's still that communication between both the male and the female, and we as two units work together to do X, Y, and Z. But we have our jobs that are broken out for the two of us. You get what I'm saying?
I
Yeah.
do. Oh, go ahead, Carmel. I didn't know if you were gonna say something.
No, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I do, and it has me thinking, because there's such this push in some places, not everywhere, but there's such this push to return to something that I don't think any of us understood or were at or know what it was, but to go back to something that people they idolize but weren't
Mhm.
there, when the reality may have been that these women were doing what they're doing, and they were leading not because something was broken or wrong, or all of the things that we end up saying, but because that's what we've done culturally,
Right.
Hmm.
right? But
Hmm.
the narrative has been, oh, all these women out here that are running the things or whatever. There seems to be a disconnect between the fact that women were running things and have respect for men, right?
Right.
Because you can do both. The idea
You can do
is like,
both.
oh, these women are running things, and because they're doing that, they have no respect for men, which I think is completely wrong. And I think, again, culturally, the women are doing what we've always done, and perhaps we've fallen into a mindset that doesn't belong to us
At all.
Right.
at all, and then
Right.
we're trying to fit into that instead. Because in West Africa, historically, the women were the ones in the marketplace. The women were the ones running the businesses. It doesn't mean
Hmm.
men didn't run businesses, but women ran businesses. Women were trading, like that.
Yeah.
That's what we did. So this idea that somehow everyone was at home just sweeping their hut, is it? That's what we should still be doing today. To that dude's point, that's not necessarily the case.
But that's a false reality even over here in ever, right? Because if you look at it historically, when people were fighting for rights, right, women's rights and all this other stuff, the most of the our European counterparts, right, they were the ones who were at home, but our mothers went out to clean their houses. So they were
Exactly.
our the colored diaspora was always working. It wasn't a not because even when that man could not get factory jobs, that woman still was a teacher. She was a nurse. She was a maid, right? Those were always women driven jobs, careers, and still are pretty much. So it's kind of like what reality, what false reality have do we have in our heads? Because my mother and grandmother and great grandmother were always out of the house. Yes, there are some who weren't, like my great great grandmother on my grandfather's side, my mother's father's side. She didn't leave her home. However, when my grandfather went away, my great great grandfather, y'all know I call them all different stuff over here because I got Papa, granddaddy, whatever. But anyway, when he left, he would go. He was a not a fisherman, but he worked with the marina. But when he came back and he gave his check to her so that she can understand this is what we have to deal with, and you can run the house off of this, so that we're both in this shared understanding of this unity, what unity is in our household, right? And we both delegate how our responsibilities are going to be with our children and different aspects like that. And so when we have these people who are like, well, the woman should be at home and she could cook and clean and da da, she was always cooking and cleaning and whatever else, unless she had the money and funds to not do that. And that's why I tell men now, a lot of guys come up and be like, oh well, what makes a woman valuable is, her looks, her age, right? Because this particular person was like, she got to be under 40, hopefully between 25 and 30. She can work, but I'm not really worried about that per se, but she do need to be bringing in some money. And I was like, but then you still want her to cook and clean and watch the kids and birth babies and all this other stuff. And I don't think people also take in consideration what that pregnancy piece looks like and feel like and does to the woman and her body and her mind and all of the substances that she has to give.
Yep.
And I was like, you're crazy. Like your expectation is crazy because when you get sick, you don't even move. But this woman still is attempting to do something. Not all, but most. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, people come to me and they be talking. I'm like, girl, boy, man, whoever. I'm not that girl. I'm not cooking. I'm a Carly B your ass. I'm not cooking. I'm not cleaning. You know what I'm saying? And if you want that WAP, that's what I might can provide for you. That's
I don't
that's
cook,
about
I
it.
don't clean, but let me tell you how I got this ring.
Right. So and what somebody looked at me crazy when I said that. And I was like, not to say that I will never cook or I will never clean
Right.
up, like you will never catch me picking up a broom or a mop. No, because if something's out of order, I'm gonna fix it, right?
Hmm.
But in essence, the grand scheme of things, no, I'm gonna have a maid, I'm gonna have a chef. Like, if we're gonna bring in money, let's bring in money. I'm the brains behind a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff. Like, let's utilize this thought process because I strategize very well. But I'm not doing all that. And if you can, and I'm learning now, the person, me now, I'm learning not to hold back on my conversation, right? Not to hold back on these thought processes. If you can't deal with this, then you don't want me. And that's good. Go ahead. Let me get through these no's a little bit quicker so I can get to the right yes.
Yeah. Some of the couples
That line.
that I've watched, especially who have been in teaching about like relationships and things of that nature, I've noticed one a thread through all of them, and the easiest way for me to think about it is in terms of dance. When you
Okay.
and I watched Patrick Swayze and his wife talk about this one time, and Patrick Swayze, love that man. He was like, he said, my job is to make the woman look good.
Yeah, oh, I've
He
seen
said
that.
that,
Yeah.
right? That is my job as the dancer. When you watch dance, like, and you watch ballroom dance, this woman is out here. She is just dressed to the nines. He is catching her. She is spinning. She is trusting him. But she is the show
Right.
of what's
The
happening.
spotlight.
Right. And when I look at these couples, I notice something. The women are usually the ones out front. They're the ones
Hmm.
posting on social media. They are the ones talking about it. Now they have pictures of them and their man in there, and they're talking about their businesses or whatever. Bruh is usually in the background, either doing his own thing or he's handling back office stuff or whatever it is. But she's the one she's the face of what is happening. Which again is not the same thing as some of these other folks talking about, you go hide away in the house somewhere and I'll be out in the world, doing the stuff. When you really look at the dynamic of it in nature, that's generally how it actually flows. Is what you were saying, Jamaica. It's like, here's the woman do, doing doing the things, but as you were talking about, like having the in our society, it looks like having a maid, having a chef. It looks like that, but
Right.
basically, what it is she is taken care of, because the more she is taken care of, the better we
The
all
more,
do.
Right.
better we all
Right?
do.
Yeah.
So, so interesting that we started off with an overnight bag, and we are already deep in the relationship, right? And he's taking care of me, and I'm taking care of him in the whole house.
And that's how you get
Um,
that. That's how you get me to bring my overnight bag to your house. You feel me?
I'm feeling it, girl. I'm feeling it.
Aha.
So we came full circle. So we are at just about the end of our show, of our time together. So basically, let's wrap. Should we wrap it up?
Of
We
course.
should. Dang, look at that. Time goes by fast. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Time goes by fast. Yep,
Look,
yep,
super
yep. Time
duper.
goes by fast, especially when the conversation is good. So
Shoot.
this was no, this was really good, and I like the progression of it, right? Because it shows that it's not just about that overnight bag. It's not just about being ready. It's really all of life was just entangled in that one concept, that one idea, and I loved it. Yep,
But it's
that's
but
mine.
it is too, a little bit too, it's just the woman taking care of herself. If you are ready and prepared for
Yes.
yourself, then all things will flow.
I
You get
love
what I'm
that.
saying?
Spin a night
And I
bag is the
come ready.
metaphor.
I come ready. I stay ready. So I didn't need my bag. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
look at that! Look at that! Look at that! That is the metaphor. Be ready with you taking care of yourself, and you will invite the same into your own life.
That's it.
Ladies,
I love it.
proudly pack your Spinnanight bag. Okay? Get yourself a
Hello.
little outfit. Get all your things together. Have some
Get you a
fun.
juicy juice. Call it a day. All right, y'all. Well, you guys have been with us. We are Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. You guys can check us out here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it out, drop us a couple comments. What y'all want to hear us talk about? Because we talk about things that's all about women. I am Jamaica Anderson. I'm passing it over.
I am Carmel Jean Francois.
And I am Maisha. Thank you all for joining us today.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.